Marion B. Burton's 2024 obituary begins with the line, "His many projects have come to an end." But the truth is, many of his many projects and his accomplishments live on, and few people know of the real impact Marion Burton had on all of us in some way. Marion Burton was born November 23, 1930, in Little Rock, Arkansas, to Melvin Burton and Helen Tedstrom Burton, and his boyhood was partly shaped by a fascination of the emerging world of aviation. He graduated Little Rock Central High School and, with the help of a Naval ROTC scholarship, was able to attend Pennsylvania State University, where he graduated in 1952. He held a major in physics and minors in mechanical engineering and naval science. After graduation, he went directly into flight training in the U.S. Navy, launching him on his lifelong dream to fly, something that remained the center of his world the rest of his life. Marion Burton set lofty goals for himself and his family and held a high standard of intellectual achievement and responsible ethical standards as his guide. After the Navy, Burton went on to law school at the University of Michigan, where he graduated in 1959. He returned to Arkansas with his wife Ann, the mother of Burton's 4 children. Burton believed he could do most good if he found a way to help his home state become more diverse and modern. He got involved with the fledgling Republican Party. At the time, Arkansas was totally dominated by a powerful Democratic Party machine. It is at this time he met Winthrop Rockefeller, a New Yorker who had adopted Arkansas as his new home. Marion Burton joined Rockefeller's campaign for governor in 1964 and remained part of his inner circle for the rest of Rockefeller's life. In 1966, as campaign manager, Burton was one of the first in the country to recognize and utilize a computer. The computer would be used in get-out-the-vote mailings. The IBM computer was so big it filled a complete room. The computer printed addresses for letters to individual voters. The campaign was successful, and Burton went on to become Rockefeller's chief of staff. Rockefeller became the first Republican governor since Reconstruction. When Rockefeller became one of the first owners of a privately owned business jet, a Sabreliner, Burton was chosen to oversee aviation operations, which included a private airport at Rockefeller's home and farm on top of Petit Jean Mountain near Morrilton, Arkansas. Marion and a fellow pilot flew that plane from France to Little Rock. Later, when Rockefeller added a Falcon turbojet to his fleet, Marion set multiple world speed records for commercial business jets in that plane. In September of 1966, Marion flew the Falcon jet from New York to Boston at an average speed of just over 550 miles an hour. Another Burton record was for crossing the Atlantic. On his 85th birthday, Burton let 2 of his grandsons interview him for history.
And so I was running the aviation operation during that period in 1966 and also acting as the director of the 66 campaign. I handled the sale of the Sabreliner during the process of acquiring the Falcon. And then George and I went over to France, to Bordeaux, and we took off from Bordeaux, went through Scotland, Keflavik, Iceland, took the plane up to New York at the Pan Am terminal at JFK, spent the night there from St. John's, Newfoundland, across the Atlantic via the Azores to Lisbon, Portugal. That was the route for the record flight.
Many of Burton's speed records in the Falcon jet still stand today. Burton's children fondly remember their dad and his love of flying.
Some of my earliest memories of my father involved flying. His weekends were filled with activities that were related to airplanes and flying. He might be in our garage where he was building an airplane, or up at Petit Jean where he was part of the sailplane club. Other weekends he could be found in Memphis where he was involved in the Navy Reserves. I'm pretty sure he stayed with the Navy Reserves because that gave him an extra opportunity every month to fly. I once asked him what he enjoyed so much about flying, and he looked at me with a big grin and said, "Speed."
My dad was passionate about everything he did, starting from law school to the Navy, working as a lawyer with Rockefeller, his family, especially Doris, but the thing that stood out the most was his love of flying. So to honor his legacy at 42, I decided to get my pilot's license. And I got him to the airport and surprised him by taking him flying with me for the first time. And this picture captures that special moment. It's one that I will cherish forever.
My dad always wanted to fly, but he also wanted to do something to make a difference, particularly in the state of Arkansas. And what always amazed me is how he was able to combine these passions. He met Winthrop Rockefeller in the early 60s, ran his political campaigns for governor, became his chief of staff, but also flew Rockefeller's airplanes, ran his aviation services, and even set multiple world speed records in Rockefeller's jets. And he did this all at the same time.
After Rockefeller's death in 1973, Marion Burton was named co-executor of the governor's estate and trustee of the Winthrop Rockefeller Charitable Trust, where he helped create the Governor Winthrop Rockefeller Endowment, a gift of over $100 million to be held by the University of Arkansas Foundation to ensure support of the Winthrop Rockefeller Institute. The Institute is housed largely in the former farm buildings of Winrock Farms on top of Petit Jean Mountain. An old friend had remembered Burton by commenting that his signature mustache made him look like an early days dashing aviator, and recalled Burton borrowing a friend's P-51D Mustang to fly several times to the Naval Reserve Unit in Memphis. After taking off from Little Rock, the flight took just 20 minutes in the Mustang, going at 275 miles an hour. Marion Burton was always active in serving others and helping any way he could. He served on numerous boards and commissions, including the Experimental Aircraft Association, Winrock International, the University of Arkansas at Little Rock Foundation, the Arkansas Arts Center Foundation, and the Arkansas Aviation Historical Society and Aerospace Education Center and Museum. Marion Burton retired from the Navy Reserve with the rank of captain and was awarded the Wright Brothers Master Pilot Award by the Federal Aviation Administration for over 50 years of professionalism, skill, and aviation expertise. Burton stayed active the last 27 years of his life with the support of his long, loving partner, Doris Davis, and the family enjoyed him until his last day. Marion Burton had lived a full life. He passed away January 27, 2024. He was 93 years old. And although his hands may not touch the projects he left behind, the many projects and accomplishments he completed live with us today. Marion Burton is now a part of history and the Arkansas Aviation Hall of Fame.